All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to week 11, College Talk Summer Series. And hopefully we'll be able to stay on this whole time and that you don't have any internet issues. We were having some yesterday in our area, but we seem to be stable as of now. So I'll wait until we get some more participants to roll in. They always take a few minutes to connect. And it'll be interesting to see how many of you are live with us today as school started for many of you. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how many we have live in session in comparison to our number of registrants. So this morning we have the University of Alaska Anchorage, also known as UAA, the American University of Paris, and the University of California, San Diego. So it's kind of stopped with the numbers that came in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and then hopefully as we are moving through, we'll have people pop in and out. So I'm gonna go ahead and read bios, and then we'll go ahead and get started on the presentation for this morning. So first with the University of Alaska Anchorage, we have Tiffany Vigiano. She's the Pacific Northwest Regional Recruiter for the University of Alaska Anchorage. Tiffany is the regional representative for the University of Alaska Anchorage, UAA. Her role is to help students from California and other Western states become future Seawolves. Tiffany is able to address any questions that you may have about UAA and or the admissions process. And I'm sure she'll tell you a little bit more about herself and what she does and where she came from and all of those good things. Jen Boucher is next with the American University of Paris, and she is the Assistant Director of Admissions located here in California. So Jen Boucher from the American University of Paris is one of the regional admissions counselors based on the West Coast of the United States. Jen graduated from Loyola Marymount University a few years back and studied abroad in Copenhagen, Denmark during her junior year. She always loved to travel and has a great appreciation for different cultures. She looks forward to working with students interested in learning more about the American University of Paris. And last but not least, with the University of California, San Diego, I have Kristen Livingston. And she's been with the University of California, or the UC system, for 34 years, and specifically working with UC San Diego for 29 years. So if you have any UC questions or UC San Diego specific questions, that's your expert right there. She knows exactly what she's talking about. And I'm sure she'll tell you more about herself when it comes time for her to present. So remember, just some housekeeping items. We're going to keep our Q&A till the end so everybody's able to get through their presentation and their slides. You can go ahead and start typing your Q&A into the Q&A box if there's something that's pertinent that you want answered. If one of us can answer it, we will do so. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and address it to everyone at the end. And all our contact information will be available at the end of the presentation also. And I think that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and Tiffany is going to go ahead and present for us first, and we'll go off screen so that you can focus on her and all the lovely things she has to say about the University of Alaska Anchorage.
Good afternoon, everyone. As I said, my name is Tiffany Vigiano, and I'm a regional representative for UAA. What that means is I'm an expert on how California students like yourselves can transition to life at UAA or in Alaska. So I am from California, and I definitely know what it's like to be a Southern Californian. I was Southern Californian. I was born and raised there. And I also know what it's like to be in Alaska, which is a bit of a transition, particularly when it comes to weather. So I would be happy to answer any of those types of questions for you, in addition to just questions about UAA in general. So there's no way that we can cover everything in 15 minutes. And that's why I encourage you to keep in contact with me throughout your application journey. And you'll be able to do that. I'll link some information in the chat box so you can keep in contact with UAA in general, but also myself. So to start with, I'm just going to provide you with some updates on UAA's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So at the moment, we're about 80% distance learning and 20% on campus. This means that most students can easily make the personal decision to take courses entirely online. When students do take courses in person on campus, they're in large rooms with about 15 students in the class, wearing masks while distancing, and we continue to be in accordance with state regulations. Some students are permitted to live in the dorms if they've petitioned to do so and meet specific requirements. For example, only students that have in-person courses are permitted to live in dorms. We have various safety procedures in place to keep the dorms safe for students. Historically, most students at UAA have chosen to live in their own room prior to the pandemic. That's possible at UAA, and most students have always chosen that. But this year it's mandatory for social distancing reasons. We focus on keeping students healthy, but recognize that health is more than just preventing students from getting sick. So students can't congregate in the dining hall, but healthy foods are brought to their rooms. But we do also recognize that the value for meals has changed, so we've temporarily lowered our costs of the meal plan to reflect this change in value. Really, we're just trying to be as accommodating for students as possible throughout this really difficult time. So as such, the numbers that you'll see in this presentation are not what students are paying this year, but probably more accurate of what's going to happen after the pandemic. No one knows what the pandemic holds, but we're just trying to take steps to adjust. And if the pandemic is still an issue of concern when you arrive next year, then know that UAA has had lots of time at this point to think through these things. And so we'll be in an even better position next year to serve you. What's perhaps more relevant for you this year is how the pandemic has influenced tours. So we're not currently hosting in-person visits, but you can monitor our website for updates. Because Anchorage is so far away from many of our students, and it always has been, we have always had an excellent virtual tour. And so we continue to promote that during the pandemic, but you can also schedule a virtual meeting with our admissions counselors. And this virtual meeting, you'd get more information about UAA, and then have the opportunity to ask your questions and get answers in real time. So just building that personal connection. And of course, as I mentioned, you can always reach out to me and we can schedule an appointment anytime that works for you. So we can talk through any questions that pop into your mind. UAA is an open access institution, which means that we try to decrease barriers to entry whenever possible. As such, we've always been test optional. Your tests have no bearing on your admissions decision. If you have tests, then you can submit them and they may take the place of our course placement exams. Also, as an open access institution, we try to make the entire application process pretty simple. Our application only takes about 15 minutes to complete and there is no essay requirement. But feel free to reach out to me if you'd like help with the application. I host virtual application workshops. So now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with UAA in general, let me tell you a little bit about the University of Alaska Anchorage. So we're looking for adventurous students. At UAA, we value our access to adventure and our central location. We can enjoy the beautiful nature that Alaska is known for, hundreds of miles of trail, some of the best snowboarding, more national park than any other state, and you can even take a weekend trip to see the glaciers or the Northern Lights. But as the largest city in Alaska, we also offer those urban comforts that you've probably come to enjoy being from California. So shopping, movies, concerts, and yes, even Starbucks. But we think you'll enjoy our local coffee a lot more. The state's major airport is in town, so we're just a short flight away from your home. For example, if you're coming from Oakland, it's actually faster to fly to Anchorage than it is to drive to San Diego. And a well-planned flight is less than $200. On campus, you'll be part of a thriving community of 11,000 students with over 100 clubs and 23 athletic teams, sporting equipment rentals, a new esports lounge. You'll find plenty of ways to live your amazing story. we're ranked #1 for long-term return on investment amongst our peer institutions. So UAA balances affordability and quality. We have an impressive 1:16 faculty-student ratio, which means about half of your courses have less than 25 students. One advantage of these small class sizes is that it allows you the opportunity to get to know your professors and get involved with research that can prepare you for graduate school. But even with this high quality instruction, we maintain affordability by offering automatic WUI tuition to that's approximately $10,000 a year, which means that it can potentially be less expensive to attend UAA as a WUI student than to attend the University of California as an in-state student. It's this balance between quality and affordability that we believe is why we're ranked #1 for long-term return on investment amongst our peer institutions, and in the top 15% among all institutions in the US by the Center on Education and the Workforce. So as I mentioned, UAA is an open access university. As such, keeping with our mission to break down barriers to entry, WUI is not competitive at UAA. There's no GPA or SAT requirement. There are no program restrictions, so you can change your major and continue to be eligible. There's not even a separate application. All students from California qualify for WUI. So at UAA, you're a WUI student and not an out-of-state student. This is a substantial difference in price. In fact, because you're a WUI student from California, it's less expensive for you to attend the University of Alaska Anchorage. As you can see in this chart, if you compare just room, board, and tuition, you can actually save $7,000 in just your first year at UAA. That said, keep in mind that aid differs when you leave the state. So you can't necessarily take your state aid with you when you go out of state, but your federal aid will transfer. So depending on your need, this could influence your true cost of attendance. If you have questions about financial aid, definitely reach out to me and I'll connect you with a financial aid specialist. So next slide. There we go. So you can see UAA is a pretty amazing place to live, your own amazing story. But it doesn't have the program that you're interested in. Well, as a major public university, the largest in Alaska, we offer a wide breadth of programs that enable you to explore and follow your academic passions. Exploratory studies is actually our most popular incoming major. You'll receive extra guidance from specialized advisors to help you determine your path. As electives, you can take some pretty interesting courses in things like rafting, ice climbing, or dog sledding. As a major, we offer 100 degree options for you to choose from. Your ultimate degree of choice will fall into one of 5 categories. We have distinct colleges for health, engineering, technical education, business and public policy, and arts and sciences. Separate colleges allow you to build community with those similar to you, that have similar career interests. Infrastructure allows for better advising and support services to be tailored to your specific interests. So for those interested in natural sciences, one thing that makes UAA particularly unique is that you actually have the opportunity to study in nature. You can do that by engaging in hands-on research with professors. Here you can see a lab in which undergraduate students have been able to assist a professor with research. In this image, they're investigating stickleback fish. On the next slide, they're investigating bats. So if you're not interested in fish, maybe bats are your thing. But yes, research is one way you can physically get involved in the work that you're learning about in the classroom. But you can also get outdoors while in class. For example, geology courses often take students outside to teach about the unique characteristics of Alaska. One of our geology courses has a travel component in which some of your lessons actually take place in another state like Utah or Hawaii. So we very much value hands-on learning. We have excellent programs beyond the hard sciences, so a variety of social science, humanities, and arts majors. Many students study pre-law. But Alaska is in Anchorage, we're known as the health campus in Alaska because we have so many different health degree options. Our most popular is nursing, but there are plenty of health degrees that are not nursing: dental hygienics, nutrition, kinesiology, just to name a few. So I encourage you to check out our website for a complete list. Engineering is a particularly impressive college at UAA. We offer degrees in civil, computer, electrical, engineering, and geomatics. For these areas, job placement approaches 100% immediately after graduation. This is because UAA fosters a close relationship with key industries in the state. Most interested students often get offered jobs while they're still in school, and students have chosen to work out of state as well at companies like Google, Tesla, Garmin, and others. As you can see, engineering is the most high demand field in Alaska, with natural sciences and health also topping that list. This is why programs like geology also approach a near 100% placement rate historically. Then UAA meets the demands of Alaska's workforce by offering technical education degrees as well in programs like construction, welding, and non-destructive tech, air traffic control. These technical degrees and certificates offer students a lucrative career path right after graduation. And so the last thing that I'll talk to you about today is opportunities outside of Alaska while you're still studying at UAA. To continue your amazing story outside of Alaska by participating in exchange-based study abroad, or national student exchange. Exchange programs offer you the opportunity to study somewhere else while paying essentially UAA tuition or in-state tuition of the host school. So why not try a semester or two at Hawaii or Puerto Rico or Las Vegas? These are opportunities to go somewhere and try that and engage that adventurous spirit. And that's what we're looking for in our students, that adventurous spirit, without suffering major blow to your finances, without having to reconsider your budget, because essentially you're paying the same cost that you'd be paying at UAA. We also have a couple of opportunities that you can do that abroad. For example, in Scotland, we have a partnership there. And then, as most institutions have, partnerships with other third-party providers, so you can go abroad anywhere in the world that you would like. But these aren't exchange programs, so you have to reconsider your budget when you engage in those types of programs. And so on that, I think it's a nice transition to hand it off to Jen, who's going to talk to you about the American University in Paris, where you can presumably study abroad the whole time. Huh, Jen?
That is correct. Thank you, Tiffany.
Yeah.
You just wait for the slides here. Perfect. Great. So bonjour. My name is Jen Boucher, and I'm based in California, but I'm with the American University of Paris. So I worked for AUP for about 4 years now, and I help students throughout the entire admissions process, from meeting you now or at the college fair, the high school visit, to helping you through the application, financial aid, housing, the visa process, and then getting you to campus for orientation. So feel free to contact me if you ever have any questions. I am based in a more local time zone for you, so it's easy to help. Along with that, before I jump into AUP, I wanted to discuss everything COVID related. So keep in mind, a lot of things can change between now and fall of 2021, since I imagine most of you students or parents are thinking of the fall 21 entry. But in the meantime, they are granting visas for students. So no worries there, you'll get the student visa, no problem. There could be issues at times if students are minors, but again, a lot can change between now and fall 21. So just keep in mind that for now, students are able to get visas to travel to France. Along with that, our campus has all those safety measures, from the sanitizer to social distancing. We are also working on having virtual and in-person options. So more details to come, but just know that there are virtual options that may be available to you. Along with that, I'll get into housing in a little bit, but we are no longer working with Blue Stripe. We're actually doing our own housing facilities. So if you see anything about Comforts of Home or Blue Stripe on various websites, we no longer work with those. So we will guarantee housing for our students, and that's also required for the first year for freshmen. But let's jump into AUP. So we were founded in 1962 by American World War II veterans who value that American style of education, but wanted to live in Paris where they were currently living. So they created AUP. So we have over 1,000 students from about 100 countries. It's a very diverse university of students from all over the world. So no matter what really, I think students want like the global career, or maybe they're dual citizens, multilingual, well-traveled. They usually have the international aspect to them that really attracts them to our university. So you'll see here that about half of our students come from the US. That can be a bit deceiving because like I said, they could speak multiple language, they could be well-traveled, maybe they studied abroad before, maybe they're dual citizen of the US and France, so they would count for both pools. So overall, we have a very diverse student body. These are all of the majors. So we have 26 majors and 39 minors. Since we are at a liberal arts American school, it's 4-year program, semester system. Students can double major, they can minor, they can switch majors or add or subtract. They don't have to declare their major until the end of their sophomore year. So it's much more of that American degree in the European location. But these are generally speaking all of the majors, at least grouped differently. So that would be business, politics, communications, arts, and humanities. I guess one thing to add as well while we're waiting for the slide is that we don't have any pre-med or any engineering programs besides things like computer science or environmental science. So we are definitely more of that liberal arts education. I think the internet went out, so what I'm going to do actually, I think I'll just share my screen. Give me one moment.
Okay, I'm back. Are you guys back?
Yeah, we're
We
good.
lost connection. I apologize. Let's move forward. All right, Jen. You should
we can go into the next slide. I think we're good. Great, so our average class size is about 15 students. So keep in mind that we do have that smaller class feel, but also we are a very diverse campus. So you could have a class of maybe 15 students from 5 or 10 countries and get all those different perspectives that are not only based on students' research, but also based on their backgrounds, beliefs, upbringing, really what makes them who they are today. The 9-to-1 is the professor to student ratio. So they're always there for you for office hours along with those small classes. And all classes are also taught in English. So even though we are located abroad, American degree, all classes are in English, so similar education system. To apply to AUP, these are all the application requirements. So we do use the common application, or you can apply to AUP directly. We don't prefer one over the other, just whatever you prefer to use is great with us. I would definitely say if you're planning to use the Common App for other schools, that's easiest to use it for us as well. So whatever makes your life the easiest. The personal statement essay would be the Common App essay. Supplemental asks why you want to attend AUP. It's a shorter essay. List of activities is your resume, work experience, volunteering, all the clubs you've joined, so on and so forth. The 2 letters of rec are preferably from teachers or counselors. They could also be from employers or religious leaders of the sort. Transcripts, if you're a high school student, from all of the, from your 9th through 11th grades at least, although if 12th's on there, great, but if not, no problem. I'm not sure if there's any transfer students. I don't believe so, but just in case, we would only need your high school transcripts if you scored, or excuse me, if you had fewer than 45 credits completed. But then if you had more than that, then we would only need all of your college transcripts. We are test optional, but the average SAT is 1265, average ACT is 30, and our average unweighted GPA is 3.2. Keep in mind that we have always been test optional, so even with COVID, even before that we were test optional. So we mainly use the test scores for in place of the placement test for orientation. So it's more of the cherry on top if you've submitted it and did well too. So this kind of reiterates what I was discussing before, what we look for in the application. But keep in mind, we review applications holistically. So we look at the entire picture to make sure the student's a good fit. So it's a good idea to include any languages you speak, any career goals, travel, study abroad, citizenship, languages, and also any courses you've taken that have been pretty rigorous. So just make sure that you emphasize everything in your application. Then the deadlines, you'll see early actions are November 15th. And from that point forward, you should hear a response within about 3 to 4 weeks. So after the 15th, it is indeed rolling. So even if you applied on, let's just say December 1st, you would still hear a response within 3 to 4 weeks without having to wait until the next deadline. So this is the cost of attendance. I understand, of course, it is in euros, but the grand total is about 49,000 euros, which is approximately $58,000. So if you were to compare us to a small private liberal arts college in the US, a lot of them are closer to 70 grand these days. So at least here, it's a little bit less expensive, at least right off the bat before scholarships. So speaking of scholarships, these are all the ones that we offer. First, the Global Citizen Scholarship is a merit-only award. So this is based on your application alone. No need is considered. So they range from 1,000 to 5,000 euros per year. The IB Diploma scholarships would apply if you're an IB Diploma candidate. So if you're currently earning your IB Diploma, then this would apply to you. So it can range from 5,000 to 20,000 euros per year based on that final IB Diploma score. Along with that, if you are interested in applying for maybe more financial aid, we have the Tuition and Scholar Awards. So let's just say that you were awarded the Global Citizen Scholarship, but you'd like to be considered for more aid. You would fill out FAFSA and the AUP financial aid application to be considered for those Tuition and Scholar Awards. Those are based on need and merit, whereas the Global Citizen is merit only. So those may be combined, but just keep in mind, you would receive either the IB Diploma Scholarship or the combination of the others. So it wouldn't be both IB and the others if you were an IB Diploma candidate. This is also on the timeline you should be looking at. So apply in November, financial aid in February. April is when the visa process gets started. In May, you would confirm attendance and begin applying for housing. And during the summer, just those pre-arrival steps plus focusing on the visa. So now that all that's out of the way, we can talk about our campus. So we are located in the 7th arrondissement in Paris, France. So as you may know, Paris is split into 20 neighborhoods called those arrondissements, with number 1 in the middle, and it spirals out to 20 on the outside. So we're located in the same neighborhood as the Eiffel Tower. So you'll see the Eiffel Tower on your left, although the Invalides where Napoleon is buried on your right. And then those numbers 1 through 7 are all of the campus buildings. So students would mainly be in that middle section, so a 5 or 10 minute walk between classes. Although if you were to walk from 3 to 7, that would be more of maybe a 15-minute walk at most. So everything's very condensed. We also have more of that open urban campus feel. So you'll see here, of course, the Eiffel Tower, where it may sound cliche, but students do indeed study on the grass next to it. And this is what the neighborhood looks like. So you see it's that French architecture on the outside, but the modern classroom on the inside. And we are at that open urban campus feel as well. So these are some photos of our campus buildings. So we can just continue scrolling through these. KW4C is our newest building. It was just completed this last March, or excuse me, March of 2019, I believe, yes. Yeah, and so that's about 8 stories tall, brand new classrooms, IT, research centers, advising, career development. This Combs building is behind our KW4C building. So even though we are that open urban campus, it creates more of that campus feel because they're together back to back. The AMEX Café is on the first floor. So even though we don't have a traditional cafeteria, the AMEX Café is like where students like to hang out, maybe grab a bite to eat. More buildings of Grenelle, another building on campus. These are all just to give you a visual of what the campus area looks like and see students, see the inside. Great. So over here we have our campus housing. So as I mentioned before, housing is a little bit different than it's been in previous years, but regardless, housing is guaranteed and required for freshmen for their first year. So instead of those typical dorms with the RA and meal plan, we usually have apartments for our students. This year's been a little bit different where we've had some hotel options or some residence halls, but we'll always have homestays, or you can file for an exemption if you want to find your own place. So stay tuned for more information since it will change in future semesters, but just know that housing is guaranteed and required for freshmen for the first year. We provide a shuttle that takes students to campus and to check in, but also to their housing afterwards. We pair them up with roommates. We make sure it's a fully furnished place, so there's no need to bring anything but clothing and toiletries as well. Along with that, I think I should also mention, we don't have a meal plan on campus, but students typically cook their own meals, which is great, so they can really abide by whatever their dietary restrictions are. They just want to, like, if they want to eat out as they please, then by all means. But next we'll jump into campus life. So we have here the World's Fair. It's one of my favorite events. It's similar to a college fair, but every table is a different country with their ethnic food, so bon appetit. So we have events every day on campus. Also open mic nights, panelists. You'll see it's a very active student community. These are some examples of the clubs we offer. I believe we have about 100 clubs or so on campus, all student run based on students' interests. Everything from the White Mask Theater Club to speech and debate to, trying to think of other ones too. They're all listed on there. I think it says like UNICEF Club, Diversity Club, so on and so forth. Yeah, so for fall orientation, we hope you get acclimated to campus with everything from getting the cell phone, the bank account, and of course there's a boat party to meet students, so fun times there. And one of my favorite things as well are the study trips. So we have 45 trips per year, and these are where students travel all over the world with their professor and classmates to experience what they're learning in the classroom in person. Anything from politics in Israel, psychology in Cairo, Shakespeare in London, art in Venice, 45 trips per year. Then we have a couple sports like basketball and soccer for men, volleyball for women, and equestrian for both, along with the recreational activities you see there. So it's not like that NCAA Division 1, 2, or 3 level. It's more like those intramural sports that are just for fun and good exercise. Okay, so of all of our students, 94% of them have a job or are in grad school within 1 year of graduation. And really we have 20,000 alumni all over the world in about 145 countries. But then with Alumni Outcomes and job descriptions, I mean, all of this comes from our career center. So you'll see that, I mean, we have a career development center that helps students with the internships, the jobs, the resumes. And so really, even if you don't speak French, there's still those opportunities for you to intern in France. And that's a wrap. So here's a lovely photo of our students. Thank you for listening. Merci for your time. Looking forward to answering your questions, and I will pass it off to Kristen.
Great, thank you. We're almost there. There we go. Hi, I'm Kristen Livingston. I'm a regional admissions officer for the University of California, San Diego. So I do live in the Bay Area, and my territory is Northern California. So I'm not quite your admissions officer, but I'm really glad to be here today to talk to you about UC San Diego. So as I'm sure you know, the University of California is comprised of 10 campuses throughout the state of California. San Diego is the southernmost campus of the University of California. We're actually located in the city of La Jolla, so we're about 10-20 minutes north of downtown San Diego. We are considered, San Diego, America's finest city. Also, we do offer free bus transportation for all of our students. So you could easily hop on the bus and go down to downtown or to the famous zoo that we have for you in San Diego. Maybe you like water activities. We're about a 10-minute walk down to the beach, so lots of things for you to do while you're a student with us. It gets to a really warm 77 in the summer and a really chilly 62 in the winter, so your temperature doesn't change very much down in San Diego as well. Our campus is quite vast. We do have 1,200 acres on our campus at UC San Diego. You can walk. We have students who skateboard. Typically not your bike campus because we do have a few hills for you, but it's a really easy campus to get around on as well. Now, because of the COVID-19, I do want to share with you, for our students who are beginning fall of 20 at UC San Diego, we are using a hybrid method. So we do have online courses. We also have courses where students can actually go in to the classroom. If you, let's say, decide, I don't want to go into classrooms, you could do all of your studying online as well. So that's for fall of 20. As was mentioned earlier in the presentation, most of you are probably fall 21 or later. And, everything is fluid right now. So we'll have to, hopefully see what happens next year as you're becoming first-year students at whatever college university you decide to go to. Now, UC San Diego has a lot of majors for you. And if we could change the slide, we have over 130 majors on our campus, over 5 disciplines. So we have a lot of different majors for you to look into. I would really encourage you to go to our website and you can read through those different majors that we do have for you. We do have some capped majors on our campus as well, and those are outlined in the yellow there on the screen on the slide for you. And capped means that we have enrollment limitations for some of these majors. So if you are interested in any of these majors, I really encourage you to list that as your first major when you are applying. We'll also ask you to list an alternate major on your application as well. Now, UC San Diego, we do not admit by major. If you meet our selection criteria, we're going to admit you to the campus. If you've chosen one of our capped majors, you'll go through additional screening, and the department will determine if they're going to select you directly into the major or not. If you're not selected into your capped major, you're still admitted into the alternate major that you shared on your application. Now, if you list 2 capped majors and you don't meet the criteria for either of them, then you're still admitted as an undecided student at UC San Diego. Also, just to share with you, UC San Diego was ranked #1 by Washington Monthly last year as a top university for social mobility, research, and public service. We do have internships for you, so you're welcome to go to our internship office. We have students doing internships throughout California, throughout the United States, and throughout the world for you as well. One of the things that I'm very proud of is we are the #1 STEM school for women who both come to our campus and graduate from our campus as well. Many of you might want to do research. As an undergraduate, you can begin doing research at UC San Diego your freshman year when you come to our campus. So there's lots of opportunities both through your major, internships, as well as research that you're able to do while getting that undergraduate degree at UC San Diego. Now, one of the things that makes our campus very unique within the UC system is we have a very unique college system on our campus. Now, when you typically think about colleges related to universities, you often think they have majors attached to them, like College of Engineering or College of Letters and Sciences. At UC San Diego, our colleges are not like that at all. You can have any major at any of our 7 colleges. It's really important if you're planning on applying to UC San Diego that you do research our college system. Each one of our colleges will have their own advising office, student support. If you decide to live on campus, you're housed at your college. Each college has their own honors program. The differences in the colleges at UC San Diego are the general education requirements you will have to complete in order to obtain your baccalaureate degree. Some of the colleges have very flexible general education patterns, while others are very structured. So it's very important for you to go in and research those colleges. One of the questions on the application for admission will ask you to rank the colleges 1 through 7 in your preference. How you rank your colleges will have no bearing on your admission. Once we know we're going to admit you, at that point we'll look to see how you've ranked your colleges. We'll try to give you your first choice college, but it is not a guarantee. So if you go to our website, there is a link to the colleges. On that link, it will share with you the different general education classes that each of the colleges will require of you prior to your graduation from UC San Diego. Now, as a student at UC San Diego, you still take classes throughout the entire university, and you still take classes with students from the other 6 colleges. So you have your own college to go back to. So instead of being one of 30,000 students, you're one of that college. And our students really like that about UC San Diego. So I know it can be a bit confusing. So again, I do encourage you to go to our website where there's a lot of really great information listed there for you. The next slide gives you our student profile. So again, and I do apologize, these are data from fall of 19. We don't have our fall of 20 data out quite yet. So we have a little over 30,000 undergraduates. You can see that 2/3 of our population are first-year students and another third are transfer students. We have students at UC San Diego from over 45 states and over 100 countries. Our average time to degree for our first-year students is 4 years and a quarter. Can you graduate in 4 years? 100% you can. Just working with your academic advisor, make sure you're taking those classes when they advise you to take them. So a lot of the courses, they are on sequential, so you have to take them in a particular order. So working with your advisor will ensure that you are taking those courses in a timely manner to graduate. We do have a 95% retention rate at UC San Diego for both our first year and our transfer students. We are going to, if you could change the slide, we are going to guarantee you housing as a first year student or a transfer student for 2 years. About 89% of our students do live on campus, although it's not a requirement to live on campus. I highly encourage you to really think about living on campus regardless of where you decide to go to college. You need to remember that most likely you're not going to know a lot of people, and by living on campus, it's a really great networking tool to meet new people. Also, every college and university that you look at is going to have a phenomenal amount of events for you. And if you live on campus, you'll have probably a little bit more of, yeah, I think I want to go to that, than if you had to drive and then you drive back. So I really do encourage you to live on campus. If you'd like to see what our residence halls look like, if you go to our Housing and Dining Services office, it will share with you floor plans of all of the different housing we do have. Again, the housing is different at each of the 7 colleges that we do have for you. Of course, we are going to feed you all your students with us, so we do have food plans that you must have if you are living on campus as well. We also have over 600 clubs and organizations for you at UC San Diego. The organizations vary by interest, so we have academic, extracurriculars, sororities, fraternities, intramural sports teams, lots of things for you to be active while you're a student with us at UC San Diego. We're also particularly excited because we are a Division I school as of fall of 2020, and we will be part of the Big West Conference. Of course, due to COVID, we don't think that we're going to be playing sports in the fall, but hopefully soon we'll be able to start our career in the Big West Conference. Like the other colleagues that have spoke earlier, we have all kinds of events for you. Our event called Meet at the Beach is for our newly admitted students, their first week of school, which is our welcome week. We have a huge barbecue down on the beach for you to meet other students. We also have our Sun God Festival, and each of our colleges has their own student organizations and their own student governments. So there's really a lot of opportunities while you're a student to be involved in many different things. So I encourage you, regardless of where you go to college, to make sure you're active and find things that interest you, and you do that as well as your studies as well. So the next slide talks to you about admission. So for our first year students, you have to complete those A through G classes. And I'm not going to go through them with you. I'm sure you all know what they are. You have to have them completed by the end of your senior year, and you have to have grades of C or better in all of those A through G classes. Now, the University of California, because of the COVID incident, has agreed to accept the pass grade for any of your A through G courses. So you don't have to be concerned if you were a junior last year and in your spring term you got all passes or credit. We are going to use those courses to clear your A through G subject classes. When we calculate your GPA for admission, we're going to use the courses you completed in 10th and 11th grade in your A through G subjects. We will use up to 8 semesters of UC approved honors, AP, IB extra credit in your GPA computation. We do not cap your GPA at a 4.0. You must have a minimum GPA of a 3.0 or higher to be minimally eligible to the University of California. We've also indicated the SAT or ACT exams, and for fall 21 and 22, all of the exams are test optional. So what does test optional mean? It means you choose if you want to submit your scores or not. If you choose to submit them, they do not have to have the writing component as part of your score. If you're applying for fall of 23 or 24, the University of California will be test blind. And that means that we are not going to even look at your scores. So something new through the University of California this year as well. Also, the University of California is working to create an appropriate testing policies for applicants who attend homeschooling, or if they're in a high school outside of California. We're looking for a new testing guideline, which will be available for fall of 2023 during that application cycle. Now, when we look at your application for admission, as a freshman, if you want to change this, I thank you. We are going to look for everything you've done inside and outside of the classroom. So we do what's called a holistic review of your application. Two readers will read through your entire application from front to back and look for all those things that you have shared with us on your application. We do not accept letters of recommendation, nor are we able to have interviews with you. So this is your opportunity to share all of those phenomenal things you've done inside and outside of the classroom when completing your application. We've listed here some of the things that we're going to be looking for when we are reviewing your application. Of course, we're looking at your academic rigor. Did you take challenging classes all 4 years of high school? And how many of those AP or IB or honors courses did you take while in high school? When we have your application, we also have your school's profile. So we know all of the courses that are offered at your particular high school. We're also looking for honors, awards, special talents, leadership, community service. All of those things are going to be really important if you're planning on applying to UC San Diego. Part of your application includes personal insight questions. The personal insight questions there are 8 questions. You can choose 4 of them, and you can write up to 350 words per answer. It doesn't matter which 4 of those insight questions you choose. So choose the 4 that you most affiliate with. I would encourage you, after you've completed your personal insight questions, to have someone read them to make sure that you're conveying to the reader what you want us to learn more about you. It's really, I look at it as an interview. So look at that when you're writing your personal insight questions. There's also some really great resources on our website to share with you some do's and don'ts on your personal insight questions, and it is part of your application, and you do have to submit that when you are submitting your application to us. So we review your application up 2 times minimally. It can be read a 3rd time, and then those students with the highest holistic score are the students that we're admitting to UC San Diego. Just to share with you some numbers from fall of 19, it shares with you the applications we received as well as the admitted number. Our admit rate was 32%. We've given you a mean GPA, or median GPA, excuse me, and we've given you the test score median GPAs as well. We won't be using those for fall of 21, but we just kind of wanted to share with you what it was for fall of 19. Again, I do apologize that I do not have the numbers for fall of 20 quite yet, but I'm sure one of my colleagues will most likely be doing a virtual visit at your high school. And if they are, I encourage you to go to that virtual visit, and they'll have those updated numbers for you at that point. So if you want to change the slide, please. So now I'm going to talk a bit about financial aid, and I don't have our cost of attendance in this PowerPoint because, again, we are updating that, but I can share with you last year the average cost of attendance was $31,887 if you were living on campus or off campus. We, of course, encourage you to apply for financial aid. The application submission period for financial aid is listed here for you. It will become available October 1st of your senior year. You'll either complete the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, or the American Dream Act application, whatever is applicable for you as the student who is applying. I do really encourage you to get that application in by March 2nd. So we can give you all of those grants that you may be eligible for. We have all types of financial aid for you at UC San Diego. We have grants, which are gifts to you, loans you pay back when you leave school, and work studies where you have a job on campus and your financial aid pays a portion of your salary. About 55% of our undergraduates do receive need-based financial aid while they are students with us. The website for financial aid is listed here, so I encourage you to go to that website to get a lot of really great information about financial aid at UC San Diego. Now, just by applying for financial aid, or excuse me, just for applying to the University of California, we're going to look for any merit-based scholarships you may qualify for. So you don't have to do anything to apply for our merit-based scholarships. Also, part of the application for admission is the application for scholarships. So I encourage you to complete that section for specialized scholarships that we do offer for you at UC San Diego. When we admit you to our campus, we will give you a preliminary financial aid award letter with your admissions letter. So you'll know what types of financial aid you would qualify for if you were to come to UC San Diego. We're also very proud of our Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. And if you apply for financial aid and your family income is less than $80,000, we will pay your tuition at the University of California. And again, the financial aid website will give you a lot more information about the Blue and Gold Award we have for you. If you're curious to know what types of merit-based scholarships we have, all of that information, again, would be on the financial aid website for you as well. So if we could change the slide, please. So before you do anything, we have to apply. The application for admission became available on August the 1st. I do encourage you to go in and start filling out your application now. Again, this one application, you can apply to any of the 9 general campuses of the University of California. So go in, start working on it. You don't have to do the whole thing on one sitting, but it does give you enough time to, tell us all those great things you've done throughout your high school career. The actual filing period is the month of November. So you can start submitting your application November the 1st through November the 30th. It doesn't matter if you apply on the 1st or the 30th, as long as you submit it in by November the 30th. For first-year students, we are going to give you your admission decisions during the month of March. If you apply to UC San Diego, typically we release our decisions around mid-March. We will be submitting you and sending you information about different information about the campus, and we do use an online notification process. So we do have a program that you can go into that will share with you if you've been admitted or not, but we still are going to send you that wonderful big envelope in the mail as well to share with you about your admission. When we admit you, we are going to share with you the college you were admitted into as well as your major. You have, as a first-year student, until June 1st to give us your admissions decisions. Also, if you have any questions after today, I really encourage you to sign up for our virtual advising that we have for you. If you go to our website, you are welcome to go down and schedule a virtual advising appointment and meet one-on-one with an admissions officer in our campus. And we will definitely talk to you about any questions you might have about the application, any concerns you may have, and we will absolutely work with you. While I know you can't come and visit our campus right now, we do have a phenomenal virtual tour for you as well. We also have a virtual information session that you can attend as well. So I encourage you to take all of those resources, not just from UC San Diego, but for any college or university that you're thinking that you may want to go to get a lot more information about that particular college or university. So that concludes my part of the presentation. I believe we're going to open it up to questions and answers.
We are. Thank you so much, Kristen. So I'm going to go ahead and fly through my slides because this is the 11th week that you've seen them. So you guys all know where to find my services, what I offer. I'm going to go through them really quickly. Once again, this is 11 weeks in. You've seen these over and over again. So I'm going to go ahead and put up all the contact information. You can take a screenshot of this, take out your camera, take a picture of it. Also, don't forget, if you registered, you will be receiving a recording. So this is where I would love to have you guys go ahead and ask any questions of any of our presenters today, Tiffany, Jen, or Kristen. with regard specifically to their institution. I only had one come in from a parent, which I believe that was already answered by Jen, but it was basically the tuition and costs at the American University of Paris, which Jen addressed in her presentation, with it being around $50,000, or if I'm correct, is what
it's about
that
58,000.
I'm sorry,
including
58,000.
the entire cost of attendance.
Right, cost of attendance there, which is converted from the euro that she had on the slide. So, and I don't see any Q&A in the box there. Nothing's popping up. And Tiffany did put in the chat box for anybody who wanted to directly connect. She did have a link for the University of Alaska Anchorage there for any of you who are interested to connect with her directly. She put that in the chat box earlier, I believe. Am I correct? I saw that. Yes, I did. Okay. All right. So questions? Any questions? Ladies, that means that you did an amazing job. There are no questions. That's the way I look at it, right? I did my job so well that you have no questions for me. No questions, anyone? Are you sure before I let them go? Because I'm going to let them go and then you're going to go, oh, that was the question that I had. I know that many of you are juggling class time right now, and that's the reason why I see that our numbers, our attendee numbers are low. And so I think what's going to happen, Jen, Kristen, and Tiffany, is that this is going to be viewed later today after they're done with class, and you guys are going to be getting emails and all these emails that I have up there. So, so be ready for emails to come your way, because I think after it's viewed, those are when the questions are going to happen. So, all right. Well, I am then going to thank you all for giving of your time this morning. Tiffany, Jen, Kristen, I appreciate it. Thank you for presenting on universities. I learned a lot myself with regards to each of your, which, you know what, Kristen, I did not know that the test blind was occurring for 2023. I thought that was still in the makings, that we were going to be test optional, and then there was going to be another test that was hopefully going to get devised, and then if it wasn't, then we were going to go there. So that decision has been finalized.
It has. So we are going to be test blind for the 2 years, and then if a test if the University of California doesn't come up with a test, I'm assuming that we'll continue to be test blind from that date on. But they're looking at formulating that test. One thing I want to say is I believe I gave the wrong date for our statement of intent to register. For first years, it's May 1st, and for transfer students, it's June 1st. I believe I said June. But you
did. That was the other thing I was going to say. I was like, you guys extend it by a month?
Yeah, I apologize for that. And it's like, wait, I think I said the wrong thing. So I did clarify that for the students who might be listening to this a little later on. It is still May 1st. I apologize for that.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. All right. Well, once again, thank you very much. Like I said, I'm sure you'll be getting emails at some point. So be ready for them. I appreciate you giving your time. And then students, definitely, if you have any questions, whether it be for me or for the presenters today, please don't hesitate to reach out. Parents also. All right. Well, thank you very much. You guys all have a great day, and I'll see you next week. For our 12th week. I think we only have 2 weeks or 3 weeks left, and then the series will be over until we get to do an in-person college fair again. So that is the hopes. So thank you again, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye.